Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video. We're actually finally able to start hacking out, which is really exciting, but hopefully the actual ride won't be too exciting. He's quite sleepy at the moment, but that's partly because he's having his massage before we start tacking up. So yes, like I say, he's been given the go-ahead to start sort of walking out, so hopefully he'll be okay. We'll see how he gets on. We're only going to go to the end of the lane, which is about sort of 20 minutes. Start with that and sort of obviously progress from there. But it's fantastic to be able to start sort of looking at doing a bit with him. And obviously he's back out in the field, and I can't see any sort of signs that he's still uncomfortable. And the other sort of exciting, what's exciting for me, thing I've been doing is I've actually been looking at sort of GP jump saddles. So I've been up to the local saddlery and I sort of had a look around and also spoke to the saddler there. So I'd really sort of like to sort of do a lot more sort of hacking through the summer, and I'd love to be able to perhaps do a little bit of jumping. Probably not very big, so I don't need a sort of pure jump saddle, but obviously I'll be guided on what fits him best. His dressage saddle is an Aviar, which we're very lucky to have, thanks to my husband. So that has memory foam panels, which do seem to sort of suit him. With a flop saddle before, I was finding we'd had to have it adjusted quite regularly, as he is a little asymmetric and his right scapula is slightly lower, so the saddle was wanting to shift to the right, so it was meaning we were, particularly once we started doing the lateral work, it was very difficult to keep the stability. So ideally, whether that we look for a sort of a GP jump that perhaps isn't wall flopped, it's just finding what's out there. I think the Bates and the Wintec range have the care panel system, which I think has improved greatly from when it was first introduced into the saddles. So that's obviously something that's quite interesting. And then I was looking at like the Thorogood and the Kenton Masters. So something that's perhaps got some adjustability if need be, and also if I decide that it's not for us, then a saddle that's adjustable hopefully will be a little bit easier to resell. In the past, jump saddles I've had Black Country, which I loved. I had one of the Quantums on my old horse, and I did quite a lot of show jumping in that one, and it was just like, it was like a pair of slippers really. It was sort of well moulded, and I felt really supported in that. So that's another one I'm quite interested in what's in their sort of range. I must admit I'm not a huge fan of synthetics. I do prefer leather. A bit spoilt really, but obviously budget wise, there's not very much of a budget there at the moment. Sort of do a little bit of saving, hopefully, because obviously we're not looking straight away. I need to concentrate on Beau's recovery, and also I need to get a lot fitter. I have definitely put on weight since we haven't been doing very much. Unfortunately, food is something I go to when things aren't perhaps going quite right. If I get a bit down, because like I said in my last video, I do suffer a bit with mental health, and unfortunately I then do comfort eat. So particularly with Easter and all the Easter eggs about, it's not been ideal. So that's something we've got to work on. And it's now I want to tack up. It's decided to actually tip down, as always. So Beau's sighing in the background because I don't even think he wants to go out in it. but hopefully by the time I finish tacking up, that will have stopped. But welcome to South Brent area. It always rains here. So we're not going to go very far on our ride. So hopefully this is just a shower and we won't get soaking wet, although I have got my Lumia coat on. And I'll put an exercise rug on Beau to keep him dry. But I don't know if you can hear the rain over the mic. It is not very nice. And looking across the wall, it doesn't look like a shower either. So I might be untacking and then finding something else to do this morning, probably housework. I might try again later, but we'll see. I'm on board and we're just about to head out. He's quite keen, which is nice. He's very keen actually, he's bouncing along. So I'm just going to go down to the house and then just sort out my camera. Well, good boy. And then we'll be on our ride. So we've been to the end of the lane, got actually soaking wet on the way out, but now actually it's dried up a bit. Although obviously we haven't. I've got water in my boots, which is a little bit annoying because these are actually my competition boots. I couldn't get my yard boots on. I managed to bust the zip. I think that is not just my calves have got a little bit bigger, but I think it's also the sand has, from the schools, got in the zip, and I probably haven't looked after them well enough. So I'll have to have a new zip put in those. So I'm actually in my competition boots, which isn't ideal, but I might have to look into something just to sort of tide me over until I can get the other ones fixed. So yeah, the sun's actually come out now. I've got some more. It's quite nice. It's actually warming up. I'm probably going to end up getting hot in my coat, although I'm not out for much longer. We're literally just coming back along the lane. He's been a good boy. I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to get my phone out, whether he'd be a little bit on his toes. He's had the odd little spook, but nothing major. He's just sort of walking along, quite happy, being nosy, which is just testing our balance a little bit. He's a bit wobbly, but I'm pleased. He seems okay. I haven't felt like he's sort of struggling at all. The camber on the road isn't great, so occasionally you sort of think, oh, is that a bit of a short step? But I think that's more to do with the camber. The other great thing with him is he's not fussed about the puddles. He'll quite happily plough through them. So I think he'd probably quite enjoy going cross country. But whether my nerves are up to that, it's, like I say, it's something I really, really want to work on, because I think we could have a lot of fun doing that. So I've got to get out hacking a little bit more. Unfortunately, it's a lot of road work. Although, as you can see, the moor is just over there. It's quite hilly this side of the moor, and it's stony to get up to. But we may have to look perhaps at taking the lorry out and finding somewhere and doing it that way. Because he enjoys his hacking, and he's very good. He's generally not sort of spooky if something's in the hedge. He's more if it's a noise. He's not a huge fan of motorbikes, but I don't know many horses that are. And the other thing he doesn't really like is helicopters, which we do get. They tend to follow the A38, particularly in bad weather. Not very exciting. And I'm obviously talking to you guys, but normally I would be sort of chipping away to him. We do a lot of talking. He likes looking over the two gates there, and he's sort of trying to go that way, but I'd actually like to get back before that cloud, as you can see, hits us and we get soaking wet again. But actually in the sun, it's quite pleasant. But I think he'll need a towel dry when we get back. Before he goes out in the field. Yeah, I've got his exercise rug on. Just plodding along. He's quite enjoying being out. So am I. Although I'm not looking forward to getting off. Getting old. Even though he's little, it still goes up through my feet, jars. So we're now coming down the drive, a bit wobbly and a bit speedy. As you can see, we've got a fantastic view of the moor coming down the drive, particularly sort of going into spring, as it start a bit greener up there. And I think we're going to get back before the next storm. Something. It's also great now that the clocks have changed, so we can ride out in the evenings, perhaps when the traffic's a bit quieter. So we'll hopefully do a bit of that this week as well. So that's basically it. So we're back. It was really positive first ride back. He was a really good boy, bless him. He normally is, but you never quite know. So that was fantastic. My nerves a little bit bad when I first sort of went to sort of go out the yard. Sort of got into a little bit of a negative thought pattern about it. But he's just such a good boy, and he thoroughly enjoyed his little walk out. He hardly looked at anything, and we didn't meet any traffic, so that was good. So we'll continue to sort of do that this week. A little bit of packing out, and then sort of perhaps go a little bit further next week. So I'm really pleased, because I was a little bit worried about him, bless him, but he felt really nice out on the ride. I might book him in for some more physio, whether he'll have any more acupuncture, I need to just check. So fingers crossed we can start sort of moving forwards now. I'm not going to make too many plans initially. I just want to sort of get our fitness back, and like I say, I've got to work on mine before I'd even consider putting my show kit on. So that's the plan sort of going forwards. So that's it for this week's video. They're just about to go out in the field, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!